Hello and welcome to another nerdy news update. The last 2 days have been action packed, as you already know. Parliament has finally started discussing Operation Sindoor. It's been 3 months since the attack happened, and then an operation happened, we had a mini war with Pakistan, and the opposition has been asking the government to hold a session in Parliament to discuss this. They refused. Finally, now they have started the discussion since yesterday. So a bunch of people have spoken on it. So I will give you like some insights from what people have said. Was there any new information that we got? There was one big new information, which is Operation Mahadev, which was given by Amit Shah. That is the major update there. But there was Priyanka Gandhi who spoke, Rahul Gandhi, Rajnath Singh, S. Jaishankar, Gogoi, Gaurav Gogoi opened the debate. And of course, Pradhan Mantri is speaking right now. He's still going on. Right now it is 29th of July and it is 8:11. I saw the Pradhan Mantri's speech halfway and then I started the stream because also he started to go into a bunch of whataboutery mode. So yeah. The second update is from courts. The Bihar SIR case is being sort of considered. There is something bizarre going on there with the Bihar SIR. So I'll give you an update on that as well. So yeah. Without further ado, let's get right into update number 1. The first story is about Operation Mahadev. Now, let me give you like a little bit of information on how this went down. So, yesterday, Operation Sindoor discussion started, and in the morning, around 11:30, 12, NDTV started reporting that there is some thing called Operation Mahadev that is underway in the Jammu and Kashmir, the state of Jammu and Kashmir. That the J&K police, CRPF and our army personnel are doing some operation against some terrorists. Then around evening time, there was breaking news that the people who were responsible for the Pahalgam terrorist attack have been killed. Then at night, I was still trying to look for information. People like newspapers like Hindu and other reputable organizations, I would say, is that the government is still probing that the people who died were responsible for Pahalgam. Now today, Amit Shah came into parliament around 12 o'clock and he confirmed that the Indian government or the Indian army, CRPF, J&K police together, they have done a joint operation called Operation Mahadev, where the Pahalgam perpetrators have been killed. Okay, so this is what Amit Shah is saying.
विषय पर आने से पहले आपके माध्यम से सदन को और सदन के माध्यम से पूरे देश को ऑपरेशन महादेव जो कल एक हुआ है इसकी जानकारी देना चाहता हूं। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, कल ऑपरेशन महादेव में सुलेमान उर्फे फैजल जट, अफगान और जिब्रान, 3 आतंकवादी सेना, सीआरपीएफ और जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस के संयुक्त अभियान में ऑपरेशन महादेव में मारे गए.
So he announced this on the floor of the house that these 3 terrorists, Suleiman, Afghani and Gibran, were killed in a joint operation. That is what Operation Mahadev was. And then he gave a timeline about how it happened as well. He said that on May 22nd is when the IB received human intel about presence of terrorists in Dachigam near Srinagar. And then they used some sort of specialized equipment to find them. And on July 22nd is when they found out where these people were. And then they started surrounding them. And yesterday is when the operation finally happened and they were killed. One little detail here. He said 3 people who were responsible. But I was going through old reports and I had a confusion because this is a report which was published in the Hindu. This details out what happened in Pahalgam. Look at this part. After the first gunshots were fired at the Baisaran meadow in South Kashmir's Pahalgam on April 22nd, 2 terrorists who had earlier mingled with the tourists herded the startled crowd towards 2 other armed terrorists, which means there were 4. Because until this point, until Amit Shah said it, I was under the impression that there were at least 4 people. Again, as I said, at least 4 people because some reports said 5, some said 6. So now Amit Shah is saying there were 3. Just one little bit of information that I found strange. I thought there were 4, but clearly maybe there were only 3. Second is Amit Shah has given quite a lot of evidence, quote unquote, in Parliament, and I would not question that, to be perfectly honest, because Amit Shah says that there were 3 guns that were recovered from the terrorists who were killed. They were sent for forensic testing. So the way they did it is that at the Pahalgam attack, they collected the shells from the guns. They did like a forensic analysis of that somewhere in a lab in Chandigarh. Then when the people here were killed yesterday, they took those casings from those guns, or they sent the entire guns to that same lab. They did an analysis of it overnight, and he said that 6 scientists have confirmed that the guns that were used during the Pahalgam attack are the same guns that were with these 3 people who were killed. That is evidence number 1. He also mentioned that the bodies have been identified by some of the eyewitnesses. So, yeah, there is evidence. And do not take this lightly. Do not go into conspiracy theory territory here. At least that is the advice I would give you. Is because Amit Shah said this in Parliament. He has laid it in the House. And I would like to believe that people still speak the truth in Parliament. Right? People have been, of course, people have been questioning the timing. This is happening during the debate. Was this planned? All the things. Do not want to go into that territory. Just not necessary. But this is the information that Amit Shah gave. I thought that was the most important thing in the entire 2 days of speeching that has happened so far. So I thought I should start with that. Operation Mahadev successful. According to Amit Shah, Pahalgam has been avenged, right? Other than that, there was a lot of things, lot of questions that were asked and a lot of non-answers that were given during the entire thing. So we will come to that now. So I saw a bunch of speeches, and one of the things which I wanted to show you, I thought this was a very interesting thing that happened in Parliament, was during Priyanka Gandhi's speech, right around the end of it.
लिप्त है, पति पिता गुजर गए, उनमें से 25 भारतीय थे।
Notice what happened.
उनमें से 25 भारतीय थे।
She said 25 Indians were killed and 24 Indians were killed, and someone from the side said Hindu the. So one of the things that I saw during this entire debate is that whenever people from the treasury benches spoke, especially the BJP, they kept mentioning that the people were killed because of their religion. That is true, by the way. There is no denying that the whole attack was done with the intention of flaring communal tensions in India and also in Jammu and Kashmir in general. The terrorists, when they did this whole attack, they specifically targeted Hindu men and a bunch of things. This is very interesting because here she's saying that Indians were killed and someone said Hindus were killed, and then she clarifies.
भारतीय थे।
She doesn't want to communalize it, which is okay.
जितने भी लोग बैसारन वैली में थे और जो 25 भारतीय मारे गए, उनके लिए कोई सुरक्षा नहीं थी। आप कितनी भी ऑपरेशन कर डालें, आप इस सच्चाई के पीछे छुप नहीं सकते, इसे नकार नहीं सकते। आपने उनको सुरक्षित नहीं किया। कोई शर्म नहीं है और ना कभी होगी। सुन लीजिए, सुबह भी मैं शिव मंत्र बोल के आई हूं।
इनको क्या पता शिव मंत्र क्या है? कृषि मंत्र
खत्म कर लूं अपना भाषण।
कृषि मंत्र।
मैं एक बार
उन 25 भारतीयों के
Then she goes on to take the names.
उन 25 भारतीयों के नाम इस सदन में पढ़ना चाहती हूँ। ताकि यहाँ बैठे हर सदस्य को यह एहसास हो कि वे भी हमारी तरह इंसान थे, किसी राजनीतिक बिसात के मोहरे नहीं थे। वे भी इस देश के बेटे थे, वे भी इस देश के शहीद हैं। उनके परिजनों के प्रति हम सब की जवाबदेही बनती है, उन्हें सच्चाई जानने का हक है। समीर गुहा भारतीय।
Look at this. So she takes the first name and someone says from the behind Hindu and then they're like Bharatiya.
विट्टन अधिकारी, मनीष रंजन, हेमंत सुहास जोशी, विनय नारवाल, सुशील नथानियल, अतुल श्रीकांत पुणे, सैयद आदिल हुसैन शाह,
माननीय मंत्री,
एन रामचंद्रन, संजय लक्ष्मण लेले,
माननीय प्लीज,
दिनेश अग्रवाल, दिलीप दिल से, प्रशांत कुमार सतपति, JS चंद्रमौली,
It's
JS
so
चंद्रमौली,
sad.
यतीश परमार, एस मधुसूदन राव,
माननीय सुदर्शन नारेबाजी का सदन नहीं है।
Speaker is of course stopping this.
ये तरीका ठीक नहीं है आपका।
मंजुनाथ राव, कौस्तभ गंगोटे, शुभम द्विवेदी, जय हिंद।
This was actually a very powerful moment according to me. Someone in chat is also saying that. I agree. You know, the sad thing is that there were people who died, in 24 people who died. And actually Priyanka Gandhi gave a very empathetic speech. She detailed out, she made it very real, the people who lost their lives, right? It's so sad that even with this, right, where she's taking the names of the people who died, someone found it important to point out from that side that they were Hindus. And they were, like, the opposition was screaming back Indian. And they were screaming Hindu. They were screaming Indian. So it actually shows you what identity matters to them more, which is religion above India, I guess. Because reducing a person's identity to religion is terrible, right? The terrorists exactly wanted this. When they did that whole attack, the reason why they attacked specifically Hindu men was because they wanted people like the BJP to also, reduce them down to a religious identity, because that is what exactly they were doing. Which is essentially playing into the hands of what Pakistan wants. That is exactly what happened. And I do think it is a good thing that the opposition started screaming Indian after every name. I think it's very important to sort of makes these sort of displays to show people what matters more, and not reduce people down to their religious identities. Gaurav Gogoi also spoke, by the way, from the Congress. Two major points that he had, Gaurav Gogoi, who opened the debates from Congress, was that most of his focus was on the ceasefire as well, where he asked, why is Donald Trump the one who announced the ceasefire? And what really happened there is one of the questions he asked. And the second is, why did the Indian government stop the war? Okay, I'll come to that in a little more detail, because Modi also said certain interesting things which would also clarify those things. But largely, what Congress is saying now is that if the government is saying that Pakistan is the one who initiated the ceasefire, and BJP is claiming that wo gid aane lage the. They started pleading with us, saying that, oh, please, no more war. We have been defeated, is what Pakistan was saying. Then why did we stop the war? Like we did 80-90% and then we pulled back. Why did we do that? Rahul Gandhi went a little more ahead than that.
I want you to listen carefully to this. I said freedom of maneuver, meaning freedom to the Air Force. Now listen to this quote very carefully. Captain Shiv Kumar, Defense Attaché, Indonesia.
Yeah.
He says, I may not agree with him that India lost so many aircraft, but I do agree that we did lose some aircraft. And that happened only because of the constraint given by the political leadership to not attack the military establishment and their air defense. Meaning.
Okay, So largely, his attack, Rahul Gandhi's attack, was focused on how Operation Sindoor itself was a strategic blunder, right? As I said, the stand that they are largely taking is that the opposition supported you when you wanted to do Operation Sindoor. When you wanted to go against Pakistan, the entire opposition came together and supported the BJP, and they said, "Ki, go ahead, go right ahead, do what you want. Pakistan needs to be taught a lesson." So everybody came together. He said, though, that the defense minister gave a very important information that we started Operation Sindoor at 1 in the night, and it ended in like 20 minutes, where we went and attacked 9 terrorist targets. Our Air Force went and attacked 9 terrorist targets. But the defense minister also said that our DGMO called the Pakistan DGMO around 1:30 a.m., like right after that initial attack was done, and said that we won't attack after this. We told Pakistan that, we have targeted your non-military terrorist infrastructure, so don't do anything back. So according to Rahul Gandhi, that was the first strategic mistake, which is that, like, he gives an analogy of hitting someone in the face, like punching someone in the face, and then saying that, "Oh no, see, strategically, I hit you strategically. Don't hit back, otherwise it will be bad. It will be bad." And he called them and told them. So according to him, that was a strategic mistake. That if we had escalated, then we might as well gone all the way. Like, what is this nonsense? And he obviously pointed out the defense attaché who spoke in Indonesia later and said the same thing, that the political leadership is what held our army back. That is his stand, that the political leadership is what held us back, or held our army and air forces back from completing what needs to be done. And that is the whole reason why we lost some of our planes. The second thing he said is this.
The goal of the exercise was to make sure that he used the Air Force to protect his image. After that, Donald Trump has said 29 times. 29 times he said, 29 बार उन्होंने बोला कि भैया मैंने सीज फायर करवाया। अच्छा, अगर वो झूठ बोल रहे हैं तो अपने भाषण में यहां प्रधानमंत्री कह दें कि वो झूठ बोल रहे हैं। यहां पे अगर दम है तो यहां पे प्रधानमंत्री बोल दे कि ट्रंप झूठ बोल रहे हैं। If he has the courage of Indira Gandhi, let him say here that Donald Trump, you're a liar. That you did not make a ceasefire and that we did not lose any planes. Let him say it here. If he has the courage. 50% भी है इंदिरा गांधी का, तो यहाँ बोल दे। 50%.
So that is another important thrust of his attack, which is call Trump a liar. As simple as that. Call Trump a liar, because Trump has been constantly saying, even now, he keeps repeating it again and again, that, I stopped a war between India and Pakistan. It was going to go nuclear. I used trade to stop a war between India and Pakistan. And so far, the Indian government has not called him a liar. Although I must point out that S. Jaishankar in Parliament yesterday said that the US did not intervene in anything, right? He also pointed out that Modi ji hasn't spoken to Trump for a while or during the operation at all, right? So they are saying that the US did not intervene. That's what S. Jaishankar said, right? But they never named Trump. Rahul Gandhi is saying, why don't you name Trump? Why don't you name Trump? Just call him a liar, why don't you? But it doesn't. So largely what Rahul Gandhi said is that there is no political will to actually do anything bad to Pakistan. The other important point that he made was that China and Pakistan have fused together. Their armies are now working together, and that is a very big threat which the Indian government does not acknowledge. So according to him, when the Indian Army and the Air Force and the Navy, when they started doing this operation and actually started being aggressive with Pakistan, they realized that China has been giving real-time information to Pakistan. The DGMOs have been talking and they have been identifying assets in India, and the Pakistani side has been identifying assets in India that are being deployed through satellite imagery and telling us which is being supplied by China. That is what Rahul Gandhi is saying. So that is a very dangerous thing, and that has never been acknowledged, which I think is a very valid point to make as well. So yeah, largely that was Rahul Gandhi's attack. But mainly he is asking Narendra Modi to call Trump a liar. And as expected, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't.
दुनिया में किसी भी देश ने भारत को अपनी सुरक्षा में कार्रवाई करने से रोका नहीं है.
Notice the wording.
संयुक्त राष्ट्र 193 countries.
Notice the wording. I'm going to play it again and then tell you in English again.
ये भी काफी बातें कही गई. मैं आज सदन में कुछ बातें पूरी स्पष्टता से कह रहा हूं. दुनिया में किसी भी देश ने भारत को अपनी सुरक्षा में कार्रवाई करने से रोका नहीं है.
No country in the world has stopped us from, protecting ourselves or doing operations to protect ourselves, is what he's saying. The wording is important here. A, doesn't name Trump at all. And also goes even more general by saying, oh, in the world, no other country has stopped us. Smart wordplay. Doesn't really say anything other than what we already know. Doesn't admit that Trump is lying. Doesn't say that Trump didn't stop us, doesn't say anything of that sort. It just does wordplay and tries to get away with it. Okay, so one of the challenges that Rahul Gandhi did, which is at least till the speech that I saw like halfway through. I don't know if he said it after that, if he even named Trump, although I doubt it, we'll find out. But yeah, he does not name Trump. No country stopped us, is what he's saying. Okay. One of the things, again, I'm not going to make you listen to the whole thing, so I'm just going to review a few things that he said. First is, he emphasized that we have done an attack 100 kilometers inside the territory of Pakistan. When I was covering Operation Sindoor, that is something that also caught me a little off guard, which was kind of insane that we went 100 kilometers inside the Pakistani territory and attacked them, which is a straight up act of war because it's sovereign territory. He said that even when we were attacking POK, I believe that Amit Shah said that some of the targets were in POK. So technically we were attacking within our territory, but for the first time we actually went into that territory. So that matters, right? Second, he started talking about made in India, which is that most of the weapons that were used to attack Pakistan this time were made in India. And he also spoke about our defense equipment, which is the air defense, which is very effective, and this was proof of that. I do agree with that. I feel like now we have good air defense. Okay, right after that, this is important. He said that we are now in a new normal. He keeps saying this. We are in a new normal. Any terror attack on India is going to be an act of war. That is the new policy according to this government. Any terror attack done on India will be considered an act of war, and India will attack. There is a little bit of a problem here, and which Rahul Gandhi also pointed out, that now Indian government will not decide when to go to war with Pakistan. Some random terrorist will do it for us. Which is that next time a terrorist attack happens, we will be forced, according to this new normal, to go to war with Pakistan. Because that is the answer that we have decided to give. It's a little weird as far as foreign policy goes, because that's not deterrence and that's not smart, right? He also pointed out that we will not see the government and terrorists separately, which doesn't make sense to me in two ways. I just noticed it because he said this in his speech, right? First, he says that we called up Pakistan and told them after day one of Operation Sindoor that we have not attacked their military targets, right? Then a few minutes later in this speech, he says that we will not see the government and terrorists separately. Wait, so if you are not seeing the government and terrorists separately, which also includes the armed forces, which includes Asim Munir, so technically now terrorists in Pakistan are being controlled by Asim Munir, which is the military, and the government, civilian government, however you want to call it, puppet government. Then why did we call them? If we have this new doctrine, it doesn't make sense, right? Because technically we are just calling terrorists and telling them that we will not attack your infrastructure, because both of these things can't go together, right? You are saying that now the government and the terrorists in Pakistan and the army in Pakistan are one and the same. Terror ke Aka, or whatever we call it. So technically, the military installations in Pakistan are also terrorist infrastructure now. So why did we call and tell them? Also, in the same speech, he said two things. One is that we completed our objectives on Operation Sindoor. And then a few minutes later, he kept saying that Operation Sindoor is still ongoing. Again, both of these things can't happen together. What was the objective? So, first objective, according to him, was attack the terror infrastructure, 9 infrastructure. We did that, right? We went 100 kilometers, attacked it. Then apparently there is a new objective that came up, which is, take down their aerial defense, which is day 2 or whenever, like, so then we went and bombed some of their radars, etc. Then day 3 we started bombing their airfields also, and day 3 at night Donald Trump announced the ceasefire, right? Then our government came and announced the ceasefire ourselves. Again, itna inconsistency hai, boss. Even in this speech, I found so much inconsistency. I'm like, so you completed your objective, you did your targets, but then it kept adding to it. But you're also saying that the Operation Sindoor is still ongoing. And now there is a separate operation, which is Operation Mahadev, which came in, and you have eradicated the terrorists as well. So what was that a part of? Just inconsistencies all over the place. Anyway, he also pointed out very importantly, on May 9th, the Vice President of America called him and told him that Pakistan is planning a massive attack. So even if the Prime Minister was not talking to Doland, on May 9th, he did talk to the Vice President. So that is something that he admitted. So when Jaishankar said that, Donald Trump and Narendra Modi did not speak to each other, the US president and him, it was true. But it does not mean that that our prime minister was not talking to the US government. See, that is where the wordplay comes in. He admitted now that May 9th VP called him and told him that they are planning an attack. And according to him, he responded saying that if they attack us, we will attack back. That's what Modi ji said. Okay. May 9th at night is when VP called him. May 10th is when when Doland announces the ceasefire. Just saying. Okay. Then he started talking about Operation Mahadev also. He said that we have eradicated the terrorists and blamed the opposition. Now, another thing I have to say, new information, very less in Modi's speech. Most new information was given by Amit Shah. Defense Minister repeated the same things. Jaishankar also mostly repeated the same things. There are no answers to why what is happening diplomatically. Rahul Gandhi also pointed out how Asim Munir was invited to the US to have lunch with the president, and how Trump thanked him for fighting with terrorism. Yeah, Donald Trump is thanking Asim Munir for fighting with terrorism. And if our government is not differentiating between the military and terrorist infrastructure, then technically Asim Munir is the one doing the terrorism. So now Donald Trump is thanking Asim Munir, who is doing terrorism, for stopping terrorism, which makes no sense. And the Indian government refuses to speak about this. So a lot of questions, few answers. That's the largish summation of the parliament debate. If you have any other speakers who said something interesting, I didn't see all of them, but if you think there are, please leave it in the comments below so that more people get more information, because I know a lot of people read comments as well. So yeah. But that is update number 1 from me. Update number 2 comes from the Supreme Court. As you know, the Bihar Special Intensive Revision, also known as Vote Bandi, is currently underway. The enumeration form collection has ended, and the Election Commission has given some figures. According to them, 65 lakh people in Bihar are not included in the draft list. So as I said earlier, 7.9 crore voters were supposed to fill the enumeration forms. According to the Election Commission, either a lot of people have died or they have not given the form or migrated out of Bihar, and the number total 65 lakh. So their names will not be in the draft list. Now the Supreme Court was supposed to hear the petition on this Bihar SIR yesterday, which is on the 28th, which is a Monday. Today is the 29th. So yesterday there was not much of a hearing that happened. They gave today's date. And today also there was a very hurried hearing. I don't know what is up with the Supreme Court, honestly. So this is what happened. Largely what they said is that we will step in if there is mass exclusion of voters. So the argument that the Election Commission is now making is that, oh, this is just a draft list. This is just a draft list. They're going into like an objection stage. So over the next month, if your name is not on the list, then you can go to the Election Commission and ask them, why is my name not on the list? Another thing is that the EROs will now decide whether you deserve to be on the list also. So whether you have filled the enumeration form or given documents or not given documents doesn't matter, because the ERO is going to take a call on whether you deserve to be on the voter list also. So again, two things. One, you have not filled a form, so you're supposed to fill or ask now and fill it or do re-enumeration. They have not clarified how that happens. And the second is, if you're already on the list and the ERO is saying you shouldn't be on the list, then you have to do clarifications, etc. So that is going to happen. So what Supreme Court is now saying is that we will wait. We will wait and watch. If mass exclusions happen, then we will see what to do. Now, this is a big problem, friendos. I must say, this is a big problem. I have a problem with the Supreme Court here. And this is something that we have seen happening with Aadhaar specifically. While petitioners were saying that Aadhaar is a violation of privacy, it is unconstitutional, it is basically going to be used for surveillance. And now you know that Aadhaar is not anything practically, no proof of identity, no proof of anything. As someone pointed out, Aadhaar is just a proof that you have Aadhaar. Funnily enough, I went to Nagpur recently and I did not know they don't check physical copies of Aadhaar anymore. Yeah. So I was like, boss, what is this? And I only had my Aadhaar. I had a very faded driving license, which I tried to show it. They're like, photo nahi hai ispe. I was like, dude, what do I do now? So then they were like, oh, you have to download the M-Aadhaar app or DigiLocker, then download your Aadhaar into that. Then you have to open the PDF. And the guy made me show him that I'm entering a password, then opening the PDF, and that is my authentic Aadhaar. I'm like, what is this bullshit, boss? Now the Aadhaar is not allowed to go into an airport also. What the actual F? Anyway. So, Aadhaar is not a proof of anything. But during the Aadhaar case, what we had seen was the Supreme Court just let it be. They were like, oh, if it gets misused, oh, it's already in progress, oh, enumeration is already happening. If misuse happens, then we will scrap the whole thing. So, by the time the Supreme Court was supposed to scrap it, a lot of people had Aadhaar, a lot of leakages had happened, a lot of nonsense had happened, and now it's just there. This is exactly what is going to happen with the Bihar SIR. I feel this is going to happen, which is they have let the Election Commission do this exercise. Election Commission is now going to start an exercise in Maharashtra. Devendra Fadnavis has welcomed the Election Commission and said, yeah, we need an SIR. There is news that Manipur is going to start soon. Yeah, Manipur, where there is no government, they might do an SIR there as well. West Bengal, they will start soon. And Delhi, they might start soon. So these are the states where they might actually do this exercise again in all of these states. So everyone is going to have some fun in the coming months. But in case of Bihar, their logic is that, karne do, let them do it. If problem happens, if mass exclusion happens, then we will see what to do. I think this is bullshit. I think this should be scrapped, or at least the Supreme Court should say that right now for this election, at least use the last list, use the January list or the July list. Don't force people into not voting or into appearing before the Election Commission and proving that they're citizens of India so that they can vote. Don't do this right now. There is not enough time. There is a lot of pressure on the BLO. Another fun thing that happened, which I wanted to show you, which actually proves that this whole Bihar SIR thing is bullshit. Funniest shit is happening. One of the documents that you can use to prove that you're a citizen and get into the voter list is a domicile certificate. Now look at this. Some amazing person called Dog Babu got a residence certificate. Its father is Kutta Babu and mother is Kutiya Devi. Yeah. So a dog got a residence certificate. Dog Babu has gotten a residence certificate. I totally believe this because this is completely possible. Because our BLOs and everybody was under so much pressure. It's totally possible that this happened. But anyway, this kind of shows you how bullshit the whole exercise is. Okay, right. That was update number 2, and I am going to show my Membra a very, very fun bonus clip after this, which I will tell you. I will just give you a glimpse of, and then I'm going to quickly end it because you're not a member. People, you need to become a member to see this bonus clip. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Since you're not a member, you will not get to see this. Haha. Okay, so become a member so that you get to see that fun little clip that I'm going to show only to my members. And I'm going to laugh like crazy with them. So yeah, that was the update and I will see you soon. Guys, we are almost at 100k by the way, 1000 subscribers away. So if you like this content, if you got some value out of all this speeches that I have seen and distilled for you, so please do consider subscribing. July, 2 days left to July. Want to get to 100k in July. Let's hope it happens. Okay, I will see you in the next update. Bye bye.